Here at Screen Rant, we're preparing ourselves for spooky season. We love horror movies, and we also love to take a look at movie theories with you guys. So grab a torch and come with us as we take a look at 10 theories about some of our favorite movie monsters. Wait, before we get started, make sure to click the red button to subscribe for more great movie content. Can you guess what movie this is from the emoji? Let us know in the comment section below. The answer will be revealed at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Scream. By the end of Scream, the whodunit thing seems to have sorted itself quite simply. We have the murderers and the motivation. Billy and Stu went after Sydney after killing her mother Maureen the year before, because her affair with Billy's dad broke up his parents' marriage and led to his mother abandoning him. Stu is just there because Billy told him to be. Case closed. Or perhaps not, because some fans have pointed out that there was a third killer, because there are a few occasions where Billy and Stu are accounted for, but Ghostface is still ghost-facing. So who is this mysterious third killer meant to be? Well, it's Roman Bridger, Maureen's illegitimate and estranged son, who we don't even see until Scream 3. By the time the third film comes around, his involvement in the whole thing makes everything seem to make sense. He masterminded the entire thing. He appeared just before Maureen was killed. He tried to be a part of her life, but she shunned him, and he began to stalk her and record her multiple affairs. He showed the video of Maureen and his dad to Billy, convinced him to kill her, and framed Cotton Weary. And aside from that, there is no way these two could pull that off alone. The Thing. The ending to The Thing is pretty open-ended. We're left with two survivors, Childs and McCready, and a research station in flames, with no real closure about what happened to the alien that caused all of the chaos. The pair still suspects one another, and we begin to suspect that one of them is probably the alien as well. The mystery really adds to the paranoia of the film. The pair shares a bottle of scotch while they wait for whatever fate is coming to them. But according to this theory, the scotch wasn't scotch at all, but gasoline from the Molotov cocktails McCready had been using earlier in the film. Childs would be able to tell the difference between scotch and gasoline, or so you'd hope, but the Thing wouldn't. It's not like there isn't a reason to suspect Childs either. He just disappears for a portion of the film, claiming to have gotten lost chasing Blair. We don't doubt he found him, we just don't think he exactly won. If you aren't sold on the scotch idea, don't despair, because we have one more piece of evidence. The Thing cinematographer Dean Cundy revealed that those who are still human have a gleam in their eye. Those who are not, don't. Childs doesn't. Hola! Did you hear about our latest addition to our family? The Richest Español is the perfect place for all you native Spanish speakers out there. Don't speak Spanish? No problem. Come on over. This is the perfect place to practice. Amazing facts, interesting people, and funny pictures. Check out The Richest Español today. Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In is a Swedish horror movie, which was later remade as the English language film Let Me In. It follows 12-year-old Oskar, a young boy living with his mother in 1980s Blackburg, Stockholm, who befriends and falls for a vampire child named Eli, who moves in next door with an older man named Håkan. He travels from place to place with Eli, kills people to procure blood for Eli to drink, and just generally looks after him. He meets his demise when he is unable to get this and offers his own blood to Eli before jumping from a window, killing himself. After this, Eli spends more time with Oskar before the pair leave together in a train, with Eli hidden in a box. While the film leads us to believe that there is a romantic attachment between the pair, there is also something a lot more sinister being hinted at. Really, Eli has chosen Oskar to be the next Håkan, and has been grooming him to fulfill all of his old duties. As Oskar is only 12, we doubt he understands exactly what is being asked of him. The Evil Dead, Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street. The Evil Dead, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street don't initially appear to have a whole lot in common, but actually there is a key item which connects all of them, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. The Necronomicon Ex Mortis is a magical textbook first mentioned in the work of H.P. Lovecraft all the way back in 1922. It is the Book of the Dead, and along with the recorder was part of the summoning of the demons in the Evil Dead. Its powers aren't only seen in The Evil Dead though, as it is believed that the Necronomicon is also responsible for resurrecting Jason and Freddy. It's also theorized that Mrs. Voorhees' murder spree and death were part of a ritual from the book that not only brought him back to life, but gave him evil powers. The book is even found in the house in Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. There's also been a comic book linking the three, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. Yeah, really, it's a thing. Freddy used the book in order to resurrect himself and make himself even more powerful. As Jason and Freddy have met in movies and Freddy's glove can be seen in The Evil Dead 2, we're inclined to believe it. It Follows. The monster in It Follows is an unknown shape-shifting entity. It is transmitted through sexual encounters and will follow that person until it catches and kills them, before going after the person who gave it to them. Sort of like a really awful chain message, but in real life. Its form changes on a whim, but have you ever thought about the forms it's taking? Hugh, or Jeff rather, tells her that it can look like someone she knows, or a complete stranger. There are 2 times when we know the person it is turning into. At one point, it turns into Jay's father, who we only see in the film in photographs, and it kills Greg in the form of his half-naked mother. Aside from those 2, we have no idea who these people are meant to be. Some of them seem to look quite strange. There is a man who has gouged out eyes, an old woman in a hospital robe, another who is naked, and another who is peeing. This is probably because the forms it tends to take are those of its past victims in their final moments, when it finally caught up with them and killed them. Shin-Godzilla. In Shin-Godzilla, Goro Maki was a Japanese professor who had died prior to the start of the movie. He was a shunned zoologist who had been studying the effect of radiation and the mutations it caused. He theorized and researched into the idea that a prehistoric sea creature was living on the sea floor, consuming the radioactive waste that had been dumped there by the US in the 1950s. Shortly before Godzilla made his first appearance, Maki's yacht, complete with all of his research, was found abandoned in Tokyo Bay, and it was assumed that Maki had killed himself. Godzilla appeared soon after from the same area, leading people to theorize that Maki played some part in reawakening him. The exact part varies from being that he is Maki to him absorbing Maki. The most likely one is that somehow Godzilla was able to absorb Maki into him and use him in order to come onto land. Looking at Godzilla's tail, it does resemble a human just a bit, especially those hand-like pieces. These are all just theories, so none of us know for sure, but the idea that Godzilla could somehow absorb people just makes him a whole lot scarier in our books. A Nightmare on Elm Street. It all started way back in 1984 when Freddy Krueger went after Nancy Thompson and her friends. But the question that everyone should be asking is, why did he go after Nancy specifically? We know that her mother was one of the parents who'd burned Freddy to death, but she was just one of many. Surely there was something that made Nancy stand out, something like being Freddy's daughter. The theory would also explain why Nancy's mother, Marge, had kept Freddy's bladed glove in the basement of her family home. If she had no ties with Freddy, that would have been a very weird memento to keep. Actually, it's still pretty weird. We don't know anything about their possible relationship, but having a kid with someone would probably make you even more horrified by something like that. Her part in killing him may have been more about protecting her daughter from him, not as a killer, but as her father. And as her father, it would make sense for him to turn his attention to Nancy when he came back. The Witch. The Witch follows a Puritan family as they set up home on the edge of a huge imposing forest after being cast out of their settlement, and are stalked by the evil forces within. The evil forces themselves are a witch's coven, made up of women who have signed themselves to the devil in exchange for their powers. The family were cast out because her father disagreed on interpretations of the Bible. He wouldn't concede out of pride, and that pride amongst a lot of other sins, like lust. Despite the clear examples of bad behavior they all show, the only member of the family who seems to acknowledge their own sins is Thomasin, who prays to God for his salvation and guidance. And in doing this, she ultimately made herself and her entire family the target for the devil, and damned them all. She was the only one who wanted to be saved that badly, and that is why she was the only one to survive. In the end, she alone is left from her family with nothing left. Her good soul is his for the taking, and he reveals himself to her in the guise of their psychotic goat, Black Phillip, and makes her an offer that she can't refuse.
I am so sorry.
The Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project was a huge deal when it originally came out. It followed 3 student filmmakers, Heather, Josh, and Mike, who go into the woods to investigate the legend of the Blair Witch and end up dead. The footage was found a few years later. The footage being found means that someone was able to go to the house and not get killed. Either the witch is selective about her kills, or there was nothing supernatural actually happening. The rocks, twigs, and noises would have been easy to fake, especially for people like Mike and Josh, who may have used the film as a way to kill Heather and get away with it. The biggest piece of evidence is the map. Heather is in charge of it, and Mike and Josh can't read it, and yet they routinely take the map, lead them off course, and then Mike kicks the map into the creek. They refuse to listen when she leads them in what is the right direction and eventually led her to the house. When they arrive, Mike yells where they're going as he goes there. Something you wouldn't do in a creepy house unless you're trying to tell someone, like Josh, who kills Heather while Mike stands in the corner, pretending to be bewitched. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's no secret that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, including Leatherface and the family of cannibals, were influenced by Ed Gein. Gein was a real-life murderer and grave robber who was best known for creating trophies and keepsakes out of the skin and bones of his victims. Understandably, the crime was known for being especially disturbing and gruesome. When the film was released, it was met with complaints that it was too violent, but it was nothing compared to the real-life events that inspired it, and that is kind of the point, isn't it? The real-life crime and the crime scenes were especially grisly, and the theory goes that the police officers who worked on the case were eventually driven mad by the horror of it all and having to be around such disturbing things all the time. This madness then developed into obsession and led them to copy Gein's actions and becoming murderous cannibals. Eventually, they became the cannibal family in the film. The fact that they were the police could also be used to explain why they never got caught, but the truth is that they probably just killed and ate anyone who knocked at the door. We're afraid that this is all the time we have for today. Who's your favorite movie monster? Remember to let us know in the comment section below, and to have a look at these theories. Also, let us know about any theories that you might know. And don't forget to like this video and click the subscribe button for more great content. The movie emoji was... well, did you get it right? Let us know. From us at Screen Rant, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.